It's the beginning of June and things have got a lot better here in the UK. May has been a particularly unpleasant month. It's colder than average and pretty much damp and dark the whole time. June has started out much nicer. We've had temperatures getting into the 20 to mid-20s degrees Celsius at the moment, and I'm really pleased with how things are starting to react to that. With the longer days of sunlight, more intense sun and the warmth, things are definitely growing a lot quicker. The one thing that May did give me was time. It allowed things to slow down that little bit, to give me the opportunity to plan things out a little bit more. I've been really lucky that I've started off early and I have some crops to get out into the garden, and they're coming on really, really well. So with the warmer weather, it means that my greenhouse is also getting hotter, and these small pots that the plants are in just can't hold enough water for them throughout that day. So I'm having to water around about twice a day at the moment, so I'm really keen to get those plants out into the garden. The plants that I've been really in a hurry to get out of the greenhouse have been my tomatoes. I've got far more than I thought I'd get. They were very slow at germinating, but they've come on extremely well. But this year I'm going to have to use tomato grow bags. They're not ideal. I don't like using them because of the plastic, but this year I just haven't had time to prepare anything to actually take these out into the garden.
Whilst tomato grow bags are not an ideal option considering the amount of plastic that they're in, they are a convenient option if you don't have any other choice. They're quite simple to use. You just cut them open, but I would advise making sure that the compost is loose inside before you do this. These are designed to hold 3 plants at a time. I have managed to grow 4 in a bag before, but that does mean that they are competing for water. I've always been surprised at how well these tomatoes do in grow bags considering how shallow they are. But as long as you keep on top of the watering and feeding, they do really well. Next year I plan to create some planters for myself, so I don't have to keep using these grow bags. You transplant the tomatoes out as you would into the ground. You just create a hole within the compost, tease out the actual plant itself, drop it into the compost and press it in. As always, just a really thorough watering to finish them off. Some tomato plants can be grown as bushes, but I choose to grow them as vines. This way all of the energy goes into the actual fruit. To grow them as vines you need to make sure that they are well supported, and to do this I'm using canes being tied together with some string.
They're like rivers of white
successful vegetable garden, you do need to be able to plan. Things can take a long time before it gets from seed all the way through to your plate. So you have to be thinking about the next season or the next thing that you want to be growing. And some vegetables require a little bit of time before they're ready. And again, you need to be thinking about how you're going to care for them later on in the year. One of the vegetables I really do like is sprouts. It's not to everyone's taste, but it's definitely one that I like, particularly at Christmas time. So I have a crop of sprouts which I'm growing and looking after, ready for this Christmas. And I've just needed to make sure that they are okay and going on well. So one of the things I'm trying to do at the moment is to give them some support. So as they grow later on in the year, they're not going to be falling over on top of the cabbage that will be in there, but also against the netting so pests such as caterpillars can get access to them.
Timber prices have gone up considerably over the last month or so, so I'm going to be using some of the leftover timber from our extension build. After cutting the treated timber into 4, I'm going to hammer these into the ground just around where I'm growing these sprouts. These will act as the support for the wiring that I'll be putting around to support the actual plants themselves. The plants themselves will be supported by this garden wire. I've chosen to use this over string just because I wanted that extra bit of stability, but I am slightly worried that it might get hot in the sun and damage the plants. So I'll see how it goes. If it doesn't work, I'll replace it with some string. Now the support is in place, the sprouts are not trailing over the baby cabbage which is growing up next to them.
With the tomato plants all out, it's now a race to get the rest of my greenhouse cleared so that I can start sowing some more things for later on in the year, but also just to give them a chance to grow and crop before the year is out. So thanks for watching. If you like this sort of content, please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're doing in your garden, and I'll see you next time.